Hello and welcome to On New Jersey's continuing coverage of the latest winter storm. I'm Laura Jones coming to you from Lambertville, New Jersey. It's just afternoon time and this weather system is making its way out of the Garden State and people are beginning to dig out from this storm. So much snow dumped all over the Garden State. All 21 counties have been in a blizzard warning. This is certainly a history-making storm, but how much did everybody get? What more can we expect? Well, we're going to talk about it with meteorologist Mike Favetta, who is standing by later on in the broadcast. We're going to be speaking with other reporters, but Mike Favetta is standing by to break down all of the numbers. He's been very, very busy keeping an eye on the storm. It feels like it's been going nonstop, Mike, pretty much for the past month. We've seen nothing but snow and cold weather. And just yesterday, I was able to see my lawn. I'm excited. They
Wasn't that
came by and
nice?
plowed.
Right.
Yeah, I can see the pavement. I can't see my lawn though. Bring us up to speed, Mike.
We had a couple days of green, and then it's right back to the bounds of snow that continue through many portions through New Jersey this afternoon. Here is the aftermath map showing the brightest shade of pink right there in the Pine Barrens just west of Toms River. More than 2 feet of snow on the scale. Places in northeastern New Jersey picking up high totals as well. Over toward the oranges had reports of more than 2 feet of snow, so certainly got more than our fair share. With likely some record-setting totals across certain locations. We'll bring it down here to northeastern New Jersey. We're over toward along 287 right there. By Mahwah had 15 inches of snow. Some other locations a little further south. There in Lyndhurst, that's 25 inches of snow, so bigger drifts happening. Even over toward Fort Lee, 25 inches for you. In Carlstadt, big totals back down through the oranges, like I had mentioned, more than 20 inches over toward Newark Airport, and even down through New Brunswick, 17 inches of snow. A little further south, across southern New Jersey, there by Toms River, some reports coming in toward Bayville, just near Berkeley Township, close to 2 feet. So the power outages continue, specifically for the southern parts of New Jersey, right there from Monmouth and Ocean County, upwards of 50,000 customers without power in Ocean County. That's spreading over toward Burlington County as well, and you see mostly the coastal neighborhoods. The reason for that are those gusty winds. It has been howling all morning long, and now into this afternoon, wind gusts still on the order of 37, 40 miles per hour, even down toward Cape May, 36 mile per hour gusts this afternoon. These winds continue as the storm keeps pulling away slowly, but the storm center keeps rapidly intensifying, even as it moves out now just south of Cape Cod and out into the open Atlantic. Look at these bands of snow that persist even this afternoon. It's taking some time to finish that last final push east of, say, the Garden State Parkway. Once that exits, I think we'll finally see the snow dwindle. But to have this snow begin last night and now continue into this afternoon, even to look at radar this afternoon, right there down the shore, they have 11% of Ocean County customers without power. So, Laura, the aftermath will continue. The cleanup will take, I'm sure, several more days, as it's that very heavy, wet cement-like consistency that you've been showing us. It's just sticking to one side of the tree.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a couple of things I wanted to follow up on. First of all, when you talk about snow totals, reporters, we joke around. Or not, we joke around. We always bring our measuring sticks out to,
Sure.
take the unofficial totals of how much snow we got. And depending on what part of the lawn I'm in, it'll say anywhere from a foot to a foot and a half. But because of the density of the snow, that isn't an accurate measure. And you were talking about it in an earlier broadcast, but I found fascinating how snow totals are actually measured, and how this
Right.
is not really it obviously not it's unofficial, but how the heaviness really affects the totals.
There is a process that predominantly used at the airports where an FAA contractor would go out and on a snowboard, which is a 2x2 painted white board, they'll take a measurement every hour and then clear the snow off and then take another measurement after 1 hour. So you're getting a more accurate representation, adding up all those inches over time rather than having one big wallop of snow, which kind of compacts down and isn't the, I guess, representation of what fell over the course of the overnight and through this morning. That's why when we saw Newark Airport's total at 7 a.m., it was wildly higher than all of the other,
Yeah.
neighborhood reports of people going out and sticking the ruler in the snow, is because it hadn't been compacted and it was adding up all those hourly observations together.
Yeah, and another thing is blizzard-like conditions. Even though the snow has stopped, when the wind starts whipping, it can still be very dangerous to be out and about. Now, the governor has lifted the travel ban as of noon, but that doesn't mean that we're out of the weeds, so to speak, when it comes to those blizzard-like conditions. Can you just talk a little bit about that as people listen and they hear things, updates when it comes to the weather, so they understand what those terms mean?
One of the most fascinating things that I learned in school, a proud alumnus of Kean University, their meteorology program right here in Union, New Jersey, is that a blizzard warning can be issued without snow even falling. It's all due to the whiteout conditions and that quarter-mile visibility of blowing snow for 3 hours or more. And so to think that there have been blizzard warnings issued in the past, not necessarily in New Jersey, but in some areas of the country where there was never snow falling. It's just blowing snow that reduces visibility. And that combined, of course, with the actual falling snow, makes it so icy throughout this afternoon.
All right. Meteorologist Mike Favetta, thank you so much for the education as well. Always learning something interesting from you. Thank you so much for keeping us updated and informed and educated.
You bet.
All right. Well, as I mentioned, the governor has lifted the travel ban, but many areas, people are recommending, stay inside, let the crews get out there and do their works. I'm very fortunate, my own community, usually, our roads, they have to get the main roads first, but, my neighborhood road is already dug up, plowed out, which is quite fortunate. You're seeing neighbors starting to come, and I don't know if you can see, putting their teenagers to work shoveling out driveways. We're going to go to Plainfield, New Jersey, and check in with John Bathke for an update of how things are around his neck of the woods. John, how's it going there?
Laura, good afternoon. And the upside that I can report is that the snow has stopped compared to what we were facing this morning when you saw me live throughout the morning. And the wind seems to have subsided a little bit. That's the good news. And it's also great news that the street where I am located, these live shots, happens to be plowed very frequently. The downside is this. I just want to show you what happens is, you know, you can find yourself plowed in very quickly when the snowplow goes by because there
Yes,
is so much snow.
same.
That, talking about the yardstick, and I also earlier this morning uh, to measure snow. This is a wildly inaccurate measurement that I do, but I want to show you just when the snowplow goes by how much snow there is and how much snow can just pile up. Let me just show you. Can you see? Okay, this is a
Yep,
whole yardstick.
yep. hmm Oh, wow. Yep.
Okay, so I'm dealing with a 3 foot snowbank here. All of a
Wow.
sudden, just so that tells you how much snow there's going to be that has to be removed from streets and the curb.
Yeah, John, I've got a similar situation playing out here in Lambertville, right? Because the snowplows came through, and you can't really see, but yeah, mine is going in about 2.5 feet, 2.5 feet myself. So definitely, yeah, it's great that the road is clear behind me, but all of that snow that has been pushed up, there is quite a bit of it. So we will be digging out for quite a while. John, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We'll be checking in with you a little bit later, I believe. But go ahead and get inside and get warm. We're going to take a quick commercial break here, but I want you to stay with On New Jersey as we continue our coverage of the Winter Storm 2026. Stay with us. Welcome back. I'm Laura Jones. Joining me now is Governor Mikey Sherrill with the latest update on our snowstorm. Governor, welcome. Good to have you here.
Well, good to be here. Thanks so much for continuing to put out all the information for people around New Jersey.
Well, what can you tell us about the latest on conditions as well as cleanup in New Jersey?
Well, we are digging out as it is still snowing. So people are working around the clock to both get rid of downed trees and branches. That's a real concern right now, as anticipated with this heavy, wet snow and the high winds across the state. We are seeing trees come down. So we've got tree cutters out to remove all of those from roads and power lines. If you see a down power line, stay away from it and report it immediately. We're also having whiteout conditions on the roads. And that's why I've extended the travel ban until noon today, because we were just hearing at our early morning meeting from the Department of Transportation people that the roads were still quite dangerous with whiteout conditions, really having a difficult time even for the snowplow operators, even seeing where the edge of the road was, and then at times really having zero visibility because of snow drifts and some of the blizzard conditions. So we've extended that until noon. People need to stay off the roads. And then I'll also pass on something that I thought was really heartwarming. Actually, we've had crews working around the clock. I mean, public utilities workers hiking into places to take care of power lines and to get people restored to power. We've had over 130,000 people that have been restored to power already,
Oh,
and
that's
more
great.
on the way. So it's been, but what they wanted me to pass on is a thank you. As they're working hard for everyone, they were thanking the people of New Jersey for staying off the roads. They said that made their really, really difficult job just a little bit easier.
Well, I think to a certain degree we got a little lucky with both of these storms starting on a weekend, so people are, just kind of hunkering down, trying to stay in place. How is the state doing as far as resources go? Because these things are not inexpensive to remove the snow. How are we doing as far as resources going? Are we getting any help from neighboring states who are also getting hammered?
We have been making sure all week. We've talked to all of the emergency managers at every county to make sure everyone had the salt they needed. Having just been through a storm, as you know, and salt stores were depleted. So it's all very expensive. I mean, unfortunately, there is a cost associated to the road crews, the tree cutters, the salt crews. So it is not without cost, but I will tell you, we do have the resources here. We're very lucky in New Jersey. I checked in with Lieutenant Colonel, Acting Superintendent David Sirotowicz on whether or not we were going to have the emergency personnel we needed, or if he was going to need more resources. He said, no, we've got it now. I'll let you know if that changes. But they were already, the state police are out in force. We had over 5,000 utility workers already pre-positioned. JCP&L, for example, had called in mutual aid from Ohio, and now we've seen the JCP&L area as the hardest hit. So PSC&G has released some workers to go down and help restore power in those regions. So everyone across the state is surging in to address the most problematic areas of the state. But make no mistake, it's tough. I mean, we've got about a foot of snow everywhere. Freehold was the first town to, unfortunately for them, reach 2 feet of snow. And the snow is still coming down up to 6 inches more down the shore. We still have those high winds. So as we're restoring power and digging out, more snow is still coming down.
Yeah, I know shore area is impacted a little bit more. I'm in the Lambertville area. Communication, I think, is what is so important. People, they understand, it's a snowstorm. You're kind of hunkered in. Where's the best place to go to get information? You have been making so many media tours, making yourself available. People are very, I know I'm very grateful for that myself. Where can people go to get information? Because again, just being informed, knowing if your power is out, if your roads are blocked, just being able to get information and to know, okay, well, somebody knows, somebody hears me. Where can they go to get information? What advice would you give people, the people of New Jersey who are watching?
So the first place to go is ready.nj.gov. Ready ready.nj.gov, that has a compilation of so much of the latest news. If you individually want to go to nj211.org to get information on warming centers, 511nj.org will help you with some of the road conditions, but really that ready.nj.gov can get you most of the information you need, and I'll continue to push that out. We have regular meetings throughout these storms. In fact, we started days ago to prepare for this storm, where I'm meeting with the Department of Transportation, the Bureau of Public Utilities, making sure I'm meeting with the Department of Transportation. Oh, I said that, sorry. We're just compiling everyone, the state troopers, the NJ Transit personnel, the Turnpike people, everyone involved in really making sure that we can get all the resources surged where we need. And then we're pushing all that information out on ready.nj.gov. That is the best place to go for the most up-to-date information.
All right, Governor, what's the rest of your day looking like?
Well, I'm pushing out the information because I think you're right. Communication is key here. There's a lot of people who want to know, what do I do if my power goes out? The answer, by the way, is call your public utility immediately, and don't think your neighbors called, because the faster we know, the faster you can get your power back. Or, how are the roads, etc. So I'm continuing to push out all the information. I'll have another meeting shortly with that emergency crew to hear how everything's going across the state. We get national weather updates regularly to anticipate what's coming next. And then we'll really just be digging out. And that's going to be a process. We do, luckily, we don't have the deep freeze that we had in the last weather event. So that's lucky. We may get up to 40 degrees this week, but still, with all this snow, it's going to take a minute to dig out.
Yeah, 40 degrees. That feels like a heat wave.
Exactly.
Governor, yeah, well, we thank you so much for your communication, for taking the time to speak with us and to keep us updated. We are very, very grateful. Thank you so much. And what a way to start off your tenure as governor. Two historic snowstorms back to back, just a month onto the job. Thank you so much, Governor.
Well, thank you. Take care. Stay safe and stay warm.
You too. Thank you, Governor. Staying warm is going to be key for so many people who have lost power. Utility crews trying to make their way out to get through all of the roadways and then able to actually do their job. It's really a 1-2 punch that they're having to deal with. Let's bring in meteorologist Mike Favetta to again kind of go through some of those snow totals and what we're looking at. As Governor Mikey Sherrill mentioned, Mike, the good news is we don't have that deep freeze on top of it because it's sleeted on top of everything. And this time a few weeks ago, I could literally walk on top of the snow without falling through. I just tried to do a little shoveling myself. Oh man, it's heavy. It's heavy. I mean,
Yes.
my neighbors, I get, to be young, like they're making their way through. They make it look effortless, but it is not. It's heavy.
Laura, it is that snowblower clogging snow. You have to stop and keep reseeding the snowblower just because of that very heavy, wet consistency. And yet, even through this afternoon, while the light snow falls, it's a lighter consistency, there could be an additional 2-3 inches to go as this system wraps up. Some of the latest snowfall totals I wanted to point out. Again, northeastern New Jersey really getting hammered right there toward the oranges. Had Orange, New Jersey, 24 inches of snow, and then over toward Patterson, high amounts there in the hills over toward there in western Passaic County. So the rest of the afternoon into tonight stays cold. That's key. We're right at or below the freezing mark through this evening as the whole system pulls away. But what's dragged in is that northwesterly wind that drops us into the 20s tonight, even down toward the coast, pushing temperatures into the teens overnight. So a hard freeze is on the way. Actual air temperatures in the teens. Crews and utility crews up on the buckets trying to get the power restored now has to deal with sub-zero wind chills into the overnight and tomorrow morning. So harsh working conditions. Oh yeah, and there's more snow on the way. A light accumulation starting tomorrow night, early Wednesday morning, lasting through the Wednesday morning rush that could give us an additional couple inches of rain and snow, especially in northern New Jersey. You see that shade of blue lasting right through 10 a.m. So while, yes, each afternoon may briefly get above freezing, there's a deep freeze every night, and there's that thaw refreeze cycle that keeps occurring right through Friday into the weekend as that cold weather sticks around. So the snow, while it won't last as long as the 3.5 weeks from the last storm, it's going to be around for at least the rest of this week, Laura.
Oh, the hits keep coming. I tell you what.
Yeah,
But yeah, this is good snowman building weather, I would imagine,
it is.
or snowman building snow. The wind is actually starting to kick out when you were in the middle of your forecast. Like, man, the wind really was starting to whip. In fact, my tripod starting to shake a little bit. But thank you so much, meteorologist Mike Favetta, for keeping us up to date. My mouth is getting frozen, so I'm starting.
I know
My
the
core
feeling. Yep.
temperature is dropping. Mike Favetta, thank you so much. All right, we are going to bring on New Jersey's Lisa Marie Falbo. She's in Florham Park. Hopefully, she's not frozen over like a popsicle. You've been standing out there patiently waiting. Lisa, how are your conditions?
I'm doing well, Laura, and what a great interview with the governor. So much useful information, and I know we're going to be replaying the show all day long on the site and on the streaming channel, and I urge everyone to watch and take heed to what she said. It's a world of difference between now and 4 hours ago when I was out here for our morning show. The roads you couldn't see. There was no sign of life. The snow was coming in sideways. And now here at 12:22, it's slowed down. It's a light flurry. The wind is whipping. That's been consistent. But I'm seeing cars fly by here on Park Avenue, the famed Park Avenue in Florham Park, home of Fairleigh Dickinson, the New York Jets, tons of pharma and all kinds of industry. So we're seeing life back here now. So things are trending slowly but surely in the right direction. And you were mentioning snowman weather. The snow is prime for that. So once you wrap up here, I can't wait to get the kids outside.
Oh yeah, see that's interesting with the little kids. They get really excited. Now I've got
Yes,
one
because
teenager.
their
She's not so
temperatures are
excited.
different. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I have a
they're able to stay in the snow. They get excited. No, so I have an 18-year-old. He just came out. He's like, "Mom, can we just pay somebody to do this? Can we just pay somebody to shovel the driveway?" I'm like, "Yeah, they aren't excited the older that they get. They're excited for a snow day to be off from a day of school. But yeah, how things kind of change as the kids get older. But you know, you bundle them up. They have a good time and oh, to be young again.
to be young again, yeah, to have your body react in a better
Hmm.
way to all these cold, frigid temperatures. Because as you get older, it, your tolerance decreases. I'm interested to see now that the snow is settling down, the dig out, and how long it's going to take for a lot of the inner cities to dig out because they had a really hard time last storm. I remember we were traveling in Newark and those side streets 2 weeks later looked like they weren't touched. And we
Yeah.
have triple
So
the amount of snow now. So I'm very interested in seeing that.
this is a significant issue in Lambertville. It is a tiny, you know, our streets are very narrow in Lambertville to begin with, and the city did a really good job of clearing the business district, and they just flat out stopped. They didn't plow out a lot of the residential area, and people ahead of the storm, they were on social media. They were saying, "All right, well, if you're going to dig yourself out a spot, maybe you should dig out two spots." And I don't know if you fell down any of those social media rabbit holes, but they're like parking wars over people. They're spending so much time digging their cars out of the snow. They want to keep those spots. And in a town like Lambertville, and a lot of our urban areas and our smaller areas, Princeton, you know, where you only have street parking, it affects business. It certainly affects the people who are living and working there. You know, people are really having a hard time being able to get out to get their cars to be able to go to work. and all the unintended consequences that happen, when there is a snowstorm, right? So we've had a couple of days off from school. If we start to have any more snow days, then we're going to start to go into spring break. Kids are going to miss part of their spring break, which some people might say, oh, well, what's the big deal? Well, if you have college or, kids who are graduating, they often use that time during spring break to go travel to colleges. It's not always just about fun and games. But you have parents who really, they get stuck because you have to plan your workday around that childcare, and that is certainly something that's challenging. But Lisa Marie Favetta, thank you very much for that update and keeping us up to speed on the latest conditions. Have fun. Go build a snowman.
Yes, can't wait. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Lisa Marie Falbo. All right, one more check of the weather with meteorologist Mike Favetta, who is standing by with a final look at today's snowfall totals. Still trying to take it all in. And even though the snow has stopped, we are not out of the woods yet.
No, and it's still snowing across some places down the shore at the beaches. Laura, I think we'll see this snow keep piling up for at least the next few hours. So where you are, back over toward Lambertville, yes, I've seen a little bit less of that snowfall, but there are some areas, especially in southern New Jersey, right at the coast, Atlantic County, right through Burlington County, Ocean County, Monmouth County, still sees that snow falling right through the early part of this afternoon, eventually wrapping up. Then the wind, you see this gusty northwesterly wind through 2 o'clock, gusting up to 28, 29 miles per hour. Still breezy throughout this evening, so you'll still have the trees swaying in the wind into tonight. Tomorrow morning sees a little bit of a wind shift blowing in from the south and west, and that's what brings in our next round of rain and snow that arrives late tomorrow night and takes us into early Wednesday morning, and then the cold sticks around to that. So what does that mean for wind chill? We're down in the single digits tonight. It'll feel quite cold right through 9 o'clock. You have wind chills of 8 in Morristown, feels like 6 in Flemington, but it gets even colder by tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., single digits down toward the coast as it stays cold through the rest of this week. So, Laura, we've got the updates all the time on ONNJ.com. You can catch the weather there and stay up to date, especially with the next round of snow coming in just about 30 hours.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is on February 24th, which happens to be my birthday, I'm getting a break from the snow on my birthday. So there's that.
Just one day.
But I'm not going to be
Just
able to
one
go
day.
pick up
Yep.
my cake or anything. I'm going to have a snow cake. Meteorologist Mike Favetta, thank you so much for that update. And we thank all of you so much for tuning in to On New Jersey for our continuing coverage. Stay with us. We're going to be repeating some of this information throughout the day, including words from the governor. I'm Laura Jones. Thanks so much for watching. Stay with us on ONNJ.com.